Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another night of Brazen Braden Plays Duels of the Planeswalkers 2014 Magic the Gathering. Tonight we're looking at the Dodge and Burn deck. Last time was the Silver Hive. The Dodge and Burn is about removal, a lot of removal and a lot of direct damage to the person's face. So I really enjoyed this deck, one of my favorites out of the entire collection that we have here. But let's see how we do against 3 random AI components playing random decks. And we don't know who we're going to be up against, but let's see how we do. So this deck is fantastic for controlling the moves of the other player. We've got 2 different types of lands here. We've got a island and a mountain. We've got a couple counterspells, instant. These aren't full-on sort of counterspells. Oops, oops, oops. I'm used to playing a different game. Okay, these ones, they put the card in the player's hand instead of the graveyard, and then we get to draw a card. So this is a good card to draw here. We've got this Electrolyze, deals 2 damage directly. Sulphurous Blast, 2 damage to each creature and player, that's myself included. And then we've got some card draw. So it's alright, we've got no creatures, but this deck isn't heavy on creatures. So let's go ahead and keep this hand and throw out our first land. Hopefully we draw into more. The last thing I want is to be starved. We're playing against Elspeth, and she is, I believe, the angelic deck. I may be wrong. We'll see when she plays a creature. She got a bit of blue mana or mana, however you prefer, in there as well. We now have enough for a counter spell, which we could possibly do on this creature. What do we have here? A Deft Duelist, First Strike and Shroud, which means she cannot be targeted by spells or abilities. Therefore, my counter spells will not work against her. So she's going to have to go through, although they are glowing. Should I get rid of her? She's a cheap creature to get rid of for a 2-cost counterspell, but she's got First Strike, which could be a pain in the bum, to put it lightly. So maybe we'll see if we can do this. Get rid of her. Back to her hand. We get to draw a card, which is a Breaking Point. Any player may have Breaking Point to deal 6 damage to him or her, or if they don't, we destroy all creatures and they cannot be regenerated. We have no mana. We are in a bit of a tight spot. She's just going to play out that creature again. Presumably we can get rid of it again. This is probably a waste. I know I'm probably playing very rash here. I should be saving these for a more pertinent time. But you never know what may happen. Alright, so we've got a Terramorphic Expanse. Looks like we need 2 mountains to play these, but for the majority 2 islands is the better option. Now we can't really play that right now, so we'll just skip across to her turn. She will be playing probably that creature again. Probably rather annoyed at me that I've kept returning it back to her hand. There it comes, the Deft Duelist. And and a Avon Squire. Flying Exalted. This is the Exalted deck. Okay, let's just get our mana in play. We want a blue. Alright. And another one, fantastic. Alright, good. We're starting to pick up a bit of pace here with the land. Now we've got a spell for 3, which will deal 2 damage as we choose. This is a 2-1, a 1-1, so we could get rid of both of them, which is probably actually a good idea. Otherwise, 4 damage to target creature or player and 2 to myself, as well as draw cards. I think we want to get rid of them. So we are going to cast this, although I can't target that card because it's got Shroud, which is now a bit of a pain in the backside. So I'm going to have to get a creature out to be able to block that. I can do a single shot of damage to her face and destroy this flying exalted creature. Exalted means that when this creature attacks alone, it gets bumped up 1/1 for each exalted creature on the battlefield. So if you got 5 exalted creatures and this attacks alone, this becomes essentially a 6/6. So they really pump each other up, can get quite nasty if left unchecked. So we definitely don't want that. This is not exalted, which is good for us. So possibly the best move is to get rid of this exalted creature, because next turn it becomes a 2/2 flying. Or I save it and wait for her to pop another 1/1 creature down, which or something 1 that I can get rid of. And instead I can throw a Char, which deals 4 damage to target creature or her and myself. I can also save my mana for a counterspell for next turn. Now these are instants, so I can do them at any time. So perhaps for now we'll just leave what we have and see what she decides to do in her turn. What she decides to play. Because we do have the mana now to counterspell it. And that's fine. She puts down another exalted flying. We will get rid of that in our turn. We can actually do it right now. But what is this that she's popped down? Defender, exalted. Okay, so she's popped down a couple exalted creatures. We are going to get rid of this one and this one to not allow the benefit of the exalted to stack up on that flying creature. So now she can attack us with just that one. The exalted is triggering, and because it's exalted, this human creature also gets pumped up. Although I didn't think it applied to non-exalted creatures. It might be to humans. Let's have a quick look here. Exalted. Among permanents on the battlefield, so any other creature will be affected by that exalted ability. Now, this is a defender, 0/4, cannot attack, but its exalted ability will carry through to other creatures. And since we can't really target that, we can't do much about her. But we can deal X amount of damage, which could be 1, 2, 3, 4, because of the X cost, which is basically the same as doing this. We also can draw cards. We are quite limited on options. So, since we've got no creatures to play, we may as well just move along to our next turn. To her turn. See what she does, possibly counterspell it. And if there's nothing exciting, we can deal some damage to a creature. Now, what is this? An exalted 1/1. It's just a small little squire. We can counter that spell, but for a 1 cost, to spend 3 to do that is a bit unnecessary, in my opinion. So we shall let that go through. Now, I want to be able to... What am I missing? I'm missing an extra... Well, I can cast this now, probably. Get rid of that blocker. Probably the best thing to do. I could deal this straight to her face, of course, but I'm worried about this exalted ability just sort of getting out of hand. Because this is already going to pump up this creature here with this exalted, which is a bit annoying. And again, she hits me for 3, takes me down to 12. Not in a good place. I've got no creatures on the battlefield. She's at a definite advantage. Still, no creatures, it's all spells. This deals damage equal to X to creatures without flying and to each player. So I can do this for 1, get rid of both of her creatures, which could be a good idea. So we do that for 1. That should affect both of hers, get rid of both of her creatures. There we go, we've cleared the board. Let's do a compulsive research and find us some extra cards, hopefully a creature. Alright, so we have to, if you look at the card, okay, if we discard a land card, we get to keep the other 2, or we discard 2 other cards. So we've got your breaking point, 6 damage, those are alright. I do want to keep this mountain though. Sulphurous Blast, that's good, it's good mass removal. I think we'll get rid actually of that card and this one, because we've already got one of them each. So we do have a Banefire, which unfortunately we can't use because we don't have the X cost. So we may as well continue. We did at least get a land out this turn, which will allow us to play these sort of cards, Sulphurous Blast and Breaking Point, because now we've got 2 mountains. Excuse me. Alright, another mana. Fantastic. What can we do? There's no point in doing this. This takes 6 damage or destroy all creatures. There are no creatures. So she could just choose that. It will destroy nothing. And nothing would come of that. We could smack her in the face for a lot of damage, which might be a good idea. We've got 7 mana. This will cost 6. Be 6 damage to her face. Maybe we hold off on that and we just do a compulsive research, see what else we can find. There are creatures in this deck, I promise. Ah, there's one. Fantastic. We will get rid of this land, so we get to keep the rest, and we can put our first creature down on the field. Now what's fantastic about these guys is that every time I cast a spell or sorcery, of which I've got hundreds, it gets pumped up +3/+0. It becomes a 4/2 creature, and these guys can win you the game. But that is really all we can do for now. So we'll just move along to her turn, see what she's got to throw at me. What is she playing? She has just played an instant Gleam of Resistance. Creatures she controls get +1/+2 until end of turn. Untap those creatures. Or she's probably actually played it for the basic land cycling, because she has no creatures. That would be slightly retarded. There we go. She's pulled out a forest. So blue, white and green is the deck. She has just thrown out a Wave Skimmer Avon, which is a Flying Exalt 2/4. That is quite nasty to get rid of. Although we have a Banefire, we can get rid of it. That's not too much of a problem. And by doing so, we can actually trigger the effect here, pump it up, and get rid of it. So let's see, this flying creature costs us 3 mana. We have got 7. To cast our Banefire, we're going to need 4 to get rid of it. I think we do that. We're going to cast this. We're going to go up for 4. And we're going to choose that creature. Mana cycling. It doesn't really matter. We can't do much else with what we have left over. But we get rid of that, thankfully. And we now have a pumped up 4/2 creature. Obviously these stack. If I cast 2 spells, this would then be pumped up with an extra 3, making it a 7/2. So it's quite nice that you can bump up these creatures. And there's another creature in this deck somewhere, which is also a fiend of sorts, which is a 4/4. And it gets pumped up 4 attack every time you cast a spell. So it can get quite hairy. And she's just holding on to these lands. So she's very low on cards. I've got a clear card advantage. May as well plop him out on the board. This leaves us with enough mana to do some counter spells for next turn. Should she have anything to throw out, we can just quickly remove them. This one allows us to draw a card. This one is just a straight up counter target spell, and that spell gets thrown into the graveyard. Which, like this creature here, it's quite expensive, so she's now cost I think you did a lot for it. We don't want it to have this card. So get out of here. It's gonna pump up this guy. Unfortunately I don't get to use that ability. Or not yet. I can cast another spell hopefully next turn. We'll see. To pump it up. No, we've got nothing really we can cast. We've got the Sulphurous Blast. Deals 2 damage to each creature and player. We don't want to do that. It will destroy one of our creatures. And we've got this Breaking Point, which there's no point right now. So we may as well just move along and hit her for 2. Unfortunately, just a little 2. But this is where this deck shines, is in controlling what she does. She's going to pick up a card now. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. It could be a land, it could be a creature. If it is a creature, we just throw it back, straight back into her hand. We do have this card here, which is counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. So get rid of cheap cards. And she's got nothing. So what we can do now, fantastically, is we can throw an Electrolyze, and we can throw them both at her. That's going to hit her for 2, that's going to bump up my creatures. And it is disco time. Gonna hit her for 7, that takes her down to 3. And we got a Terramorphic Expanse out of that, so we may as well plonk that down. Probably get another mountain out of that. And hit her for 7. And now the tides have turned. She had a good strong opening, but unfortunately that didn't last very long. Alright, what am I doing? Oh, sorry, I just gave me the option to convert the Terramorphic Expanse. I often forget when cards just sort of sit there. Okay, what has she got? Guardians of Akrasa. It's a defender again. We don't need to have defenders here. It's got a mana cost of 2, so we can actually just completely get rid of it, which we shall do. It bumps these up, but hey, you know, we can't use it. It's a shame, but it doesn't matter. If we had some direct damage, we could have thrown it at that instead, and then bumped them up in our turn. Oh, I missed my turn to do this. Like a banana. Oh well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So we don't have much to do. We're just going to throw this 2 at her, take it down to 1. She's in a bit of a bad spot. And we'll throw out our 1 extra flying creature. Dragonauts. The wee Dragonauts, aren't they cute? Look at these little guys. With their little, I don't even know what those are, sort of lightning conducting things. Fantastic. Alright, what has she got? She can't do anything. She's picked up 1 card, which is, unfortunately, well, it's a 3/3 Vigilance. Vigilance, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, means it can attack, but it doesn't tap. And it's got an ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it into the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand, which is quite a nice ability. Card draw, right there. But we don't want to allow that. Get out of here. Alright, everything gets bumped up. I picked up a land out of that. And this is the game. What did I pick up here? I picked up a Volcanic Fallout. Volcanic Fallout cannot be countered. It deals 2 damage to each target, a player, and each creature. So I could just cast this, both take damage, but what is the point? We'll just swing for all. She can't do anything about it. GG. Good game. Alright, we're off to a cracking start. Let's hope that the rest of the games go so well. We've unlocked a Char, which is another one of these deal 4 damage to whatever you want, and you take 2 for that. Add that to my deck. Nice little sparkles going here. Alright, round 2 out of 3. We've won 1, so we're doing quite well. We've got 2 mana to start with, which is not bad. We've got a couple counter spells here. There's that Earthquake again. Good mass removal. We've got this Pongify, which I'm not so sure about. I don't really like this card. Destroy target creature. It's only 1 cost. However, that creature's controller puts a 3/3 green ape creature into the battlefield. So, very powerful creatures it's good against. You know, if you've got like an Eldrazi, which is 11/11 or something, you can turn that into a 3/3 essentially. Are we Dragonauts? We don't have much to do first and second turn unless we draw into something. I'm actually thinking about drawing a new hand. Okay, we've got 1 mana, which is unfortunate, but we've got some lower cost cards here. A Searing Spear, we've got one counterspell, and we've got a Kiln Fiend in our hand with Electrolyze. This is looking pretty good, except for this 1 mana, but we're going to keep this and make hay while the sun shines. See what we do. So we're playing against Nissa, who is a green elvish deck. Now this deck can get very out of control very quickly because all the cards, they synergize so well with each other and just bump each other up, and it's all about health gain and sort of just flooding your board and overcoming your opponent. So for instance, this Nissan's Chosen, it doesn't really do much, but when it dies it just goes into the library, so it will always come back into play at some point when you hit the bottom of your pack. There's nothing special really. A 2/3, I mean, it's a decent creature for its cost. 2 costs for 2/3 is not bad. And for a creature you technically cannot ever lose, yeah, why not? We can't do much, but we can counter whatever she throws at us next. So let's take a look. What has she got? This is a Elvish Branch Bender. So it's a 2/2. When she taps it, until end of turn, target forest becomes a XX creature where X is the number of elves she controls on the board. So if she's got a free land and she's got, let's say, 10 elves, that becomes a 10/10 creature tree, a creature tree that she can use. Just to, I know it's her one spell, I think we're just going to try and slow her down as much as possible, as soon as possible. We picked up a Terramorphic Expanse. She will hit me for 2. Nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. But that's the way. Alright, we don't have any more land. We do need to pick up a mountain in order to cast some of these. So we're going to get a mountain for next turn. And that's really all we can do, unfortunately. We're going to have to allow her to throw anything she wants down, and she's going to be able to hit us with this 2/3. Nothing we can do about that. She has thrown down an Essence Warden, which is a life bringer, life giver. Every time she casts a creature, she gets 1 life. So I've played with this deck, and at one point I had my life up to over 100. It can get a bit crazy at times. Joraga Warcaller, multi-kicker, means you can pay extra and you put counters on it, and it gets more and more powerful. And this one you can pass the counters on to other creatures, should you so choose. She didn't put a counter on it. Oh, she did. Alright. So it's bumped up all the creatures. This is where a bit of mass removal is now going to be looking pretty handy. So what have we got? We can put down a Kiln Fiend. We also have an Electrolyze, which will take out, unfortunately, only one of them. This will deal 3 damage to someone. We have the Earthquake, however. So we can deal X amount of damage to non-flying creatures. We can deal 2 damage, which will get rid of those 2, which is probably our best move at the moment. Just get rid of 2 of her creatures. That one goes down to 1. Unfortunately, we don't have a spell to get rid of it as is, so it's just going to come back as it does there. We've got no mana left to counter anything. And she's put down, okay, she put down that Elvish Branch Bender again. So what can she do? Not much, just attack me. Hit me for 2. This is not looking good health wise. My mana is not in my favor. We can do a Searing Spear, does 3 damage. So we can get rid of that. We can also get rid of this Tree Folk. This one, I don't know. We've got this Electrolyze as well, only does 2 damage to someone. And a Banefire, we probably want to hold off on doing that. There's 1/3, we can block both of those. And I guess at least we'll have a creature out on the board. So we can block something and not die. And also we can pump it up should we cast a spell at some point. But this is where things are starting to get a bit crazy. Her board advantages, her battlefield advantage is really growing here. Now she's got an extra creature on the board. It's not an elf though, so this doesn't get pumped up. This one is sneaky little Nissa. Because she's now got 3 creatures, this becomes a 3/3, which means if I do block, I lose my wee Dragonaut. I don't particularly want to lose it right now. 3 damage. We're gonna go down to 8. Not good. Not good at all. Alright. What have we got? What are our options? We've got another creature, Kiln Fiend. No mana still, which is a big problem. We can get rid of a 3/3, so we can get rid of that. And that really is about it. I think we're going to get rid of that. It will pump up this creature, and we can then, although we should save it as a blocker. Decisions. I've got nothing which is 1 cost. We have to get rid of this more heavy duty. We've only got 8 life left. This is not going well. I could swing at her with this, but that leaves me wide open to 4 damage next turn. And if she has something that bumps us up, she pulls in a forest, which she'll probably be able to do. She'll play a creature and then tap and get a forest out, which I will not be able to block with this. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna hit her. I'm mana starved. I've got almost no choices here. Oh, hexproof. We cannot target it. It's only a 1/1, 1 cost. But that hexproof can be quite a pain because it's an elf, so it's pumping up the other elves. These are the 2 cards that she has chosen to reveal. Why did she reveal that? Oh, look at the top 5 cards and then pick some. So she's hitting me for 5. That takes me down to 2. 3, sorry, where's my maths? Okay, finally! Jeepers, another land. What can we do? It would be great if we had an earthquake. We've got Volcanic Fallout, deals 2 damage to each creature and each player. It put me down to 1. And then this creature would be on, still have 1 life. It costs 3, leave me with 1 mana. Oh, no options here. I've got absolutely no options. I can get rid of 1 creature there. I'm dead though. I'm dead. Alright. This is still alive. I can hit her again. I'm down to 1. I can't afford to hit her because although what is this? This is just Nissa. Nissa's chosen. I'm going to save it as a blocker. Headless one comes out. Heedless, apologies. Heedless one. It's star, so equal to number of elves. The 2/2. What else? Another Nissa chosen. Nissa's chosen. Comes a 3/3. She can't use it yet, but she can swing at me for 2. But I can block it. Where is my land? You are not helping the situation here, guys. Not you, sorry. My land situation is not helping. Yeah. There's nothing I can do. This is unfortunate. Bad luck, eh? Bad mana draw. I've got no land. It's look at that. I've pulled the top 3 cards of my library and still no land. Well, anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's the game. She is going to attack me next turn. I've got a Banefire, which is no point. Well, I'll just hit her. It's like a goodbye slap, basically. See you later. There we go. Her turn. Oops. There we go. You don't even need to play any cards, Nissa. I know you're going to because you just like that. But there's no point. Just hit me. Go on. There we go. Thank you. And that's GG. So we've lost the second game, unfortunately. But all's not lost. One last game, best out of 3. Let's see how we do against another random opponent. Ooh, those elves can get out of control very quickly. Right, we're against Krufa, which is sort of expensive monsters, but also a lot of removal. So we're sort of, it's fire against fire here. We've got some direct damage, we've got some land, which is not too bad. I guess I have seen better hands, quite honestly. But we're going to keep this and hopefully make something out of it. First thing we're going to do is we want to get down a water, because we don't have any water. An island, like that. Thank you. And then next turn I can plonk down a mountain and I can throw a searing spear right into his face, should I so desire. What has he got? He is cycling for mountains. He's grabbing mana. Good for him. Alright. We have got a Kiln Fiend, which we can get out on the field. Probably a better idea, so that when I do take the opportunity to throw this 3 damage at him, I get to pump up my Kiln Fiend at the same time. Now, does he have something to play? He must have, surely. He doesn't. Well, this is my lucky day. And we're getting some good mana draw, which is fantastic. So let's throw that out. And we are going to throw 3 straight into his face, pumping him up, and then attack with this. That's the one thing about this Krufa deck. It's expensive. You need to have a lot of mana to actually get going, and hence why it's not one of my favorites. But it can be powerful. I guess once you've unlocked the other cards, and you can customize your deck to how you want to play, to your style, you could find a good combination of cards. But basic deck as it comes, very difficult to play in my opinion. Alright, we have got Breaking Point, we've got Earthquake, we've got Char, deals 4 damage to a certain whoever. There's no point because he's got this little thing. So we may as well get out another creature for now. This dies, it becomes a 1/1. We may as well attack with this if he chooses to block. So he chooses to block. Probably won't. Will he? No, he doesn't. He allows that through. It's fine, we still have a blocker. And we have an Earthquake, which can get rid of land-based creatures. Which we don't want to do because, unfortunately, this guy is also sitting nice and snug on our battlefield. Would affect him too. Right, a Cultivate, so looking for more land. There goes a land into is tapped and 1 into the hand, and we've got some dragon fodder. 1/1s. This is actually fantastic news for me, because I do an Earthquake for 1. Yes, I can't do both. So we're going to do an Earthquake for 1. It's going to remove his creatures. It's going to pop back a Sprog though, but that's fine. We can then get rid of that with whatever he chooses to block. So we're going to Earthquake for 1. My Kiln Fiend will survive. Yeah, that's fine. Both of those get pumped up. Those all get destroyed. 1 comes back. And now we're going to swing at him with everything we've got. Ooh. Actually, he can block and then kill that, and that is not a good trade in my opinion. So we'll rather just hit him with a 3. I think we'll save this. As nice as it would have been to imagine getting 4 damage through to him straight away, we're gonna hold off on that. Now he's got a lot of mana. He must be able to place. Oh, he's grabbing more. He's really struggling for land. What have you got? He's got nothing. Alright, well, let's just see what we've got here. He's got 8. This becomes a 4. That becomes a 7. what I can do is just throw 4 damage. I know it's a bit of a waste, but 4 damage at his creature. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna destroy that creature, pump these guys up, attack with everything, takes him down to 1 health. I take a bit of a beating from this, but that's fine. Nothing to cry about. And then we hit him for everything, taking him down to 1 health. And, well, he better pull some sort of magical rabbit out of some magical hat. What has he got here? A 5/1 haste, so he can attack straight away with this. Yeah, so what? I've got 17 health. It's not going to help you, my man. And I've got a flying. I just need to get that 1 flying through. That's the game. I don't mind. Take me down to 12. May as well throw that out. We don't need to do anything. And he's tapped. He knows it. So we're going to move through to our attack phase. May as well just swing with everything. And there is the second game in the bag. Not too bad. Overall we have won. Best out of 3. And we have unlocked a Spell Twine, which is a sorcery. Exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. And target instant or sorcery card from your opponent's graveyard. Copy those cards, cast their copies if available, without paying their mana cost. My word. Interesting. Alright, I'll have to see how that fits into the deck. But, there we go. Let's have a quick look at some of the cards. You've probably seen most of them now in that play. But we'll have a quick look at our Dodge and Burn deck. So we've got a lot of Terramorphic Expanse. There's that Pongify, which takes a whatever creature and returns it to a 3/3. Our Earthquake saved us a few times. Banefire, direct damage. Our Kiln Fiend, our wonderful fiery creature thing, which gets pumped up with every spell. We've got a couple of those, 4 of them actually. There's this Remand, which is a sort of throwback to your hand, or opponent's hand. Searing Spear, direct damage. Our Flying Wee Dragonauts. And our Electrolyze, we all saw these in play, as well as a Cancel, which is a full-on counterspell, as well as this one, which is for 4 mana cost or less. Then we've got the Char, which deals 4 direct damage and 2 to myself. Volcanic Fallout, 2 damage across the board. And then the Compulsive Research is card draw. Breaking Point, 6 or more damage to him or her, or all creatures get destroyed. So you have a choice. Browbeat we didn't get to see. Any player may have Browbeat deal 5 damage to him or her. If no one does, then that person who played it gets to draw 3 cards. So you get to choose. Take 5 hits, or allow your opponent to draw 3 cards. So, choice is yours. Sulphurous Blast, 2 damage across the board. This is the guy, the Charm Breaker Devils, 4/4, and he gets pumped up another 4 whenever you cast a spell or sorcery. Amazing creature. And 4/4 is pretty hard to get rid of. 6 cost, quite expensive, but so powerful. A Spell Twine, which we just unlocked, which I will have to see how it goes, and a Jinn or Genie. This is the actual spelling of Genie. Illuminatus. It's a flying. Each instant sorcery spell you cast has Replicate. The Replicate cost is equal to its mana cost. I don't want to lie to you, I don't actually understand what Replicate means. I assume the card replicates, so if you do a counter spell you actually get another one. Or, for instance, a better example would be a Flaming Spear. Is it a spear or a seer? Whatever. This one here, Flaming Spear, deals 3 damage to your target. So I assume, when you play this and you've got that creature out, you can then get a replica copy of this to play again. Can you imagine? 6 damage in one go. Fantastic. Anyway, so this has been the Dodge and Burn deck, a dual color mountain island blue and red deck, all about removal and direct damage, and a fantastic deck to play. And you play against someone else with this deck and you will irritate the life out of them with you constantly throwing their cards back at them and destroying things with very few creatures on the board. We've got what, 3 creatures I believe? Kiln Fiend, our Dragonauts, and then the Devils, as well as I guess the Genie. But yeah, that's all the creatures we've got. So this has been Brazen Braden playing the Dodge and Burn Magic: The Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2014. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, and check out some of my other series. Perhaps you find something that you like. Who knows? Anyway, I will be back in the future for another episode of Magic: The Gathering. So until then, keep well, have fun, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye bye.